Hello, good morning everybody. Myself, Venkatesh Murthy SB, will be continuing on Unit 2, Geometric Design of Highways. We will have to study in this introduction, highway cross-sectional elements, side distance, design of horizontal alignment, design of vertical alignment, problems, highway drainage, importance of highway drainage, subsurface and surface drainage systems. First of all, introduction to geometric design. Geometric design of highways is the part of highway design which deals with the visible elements of different highways such as alignment, side distance, gradient, intersection elements, etc. Now we shall see importance of geometric design of highways. Before to that, you can see here at intersection how the side distance may be get affected. We will come little bit later in detail. The geometric design is required to provide speedy, safe and comfort to the road users. Proper geometrical design of road is a must before its construction. Location and geometric features of the highway are also influenced to a higher degree or extent by the topography, physical features and land use of the area traversed. Also, the geological condition may have the effect on the location and the geometry of the highway. Not only that, climate, soil and drainage conditions also affect the profile of the road relative to the existing ground. The man-made features and land use may also have considerable effect upon the location and the design of the highway. The industrial, commercial and residential areas will require different geometric requirement. Now we will see highway cross-section elements. Pavement surface characteristics depends on pavement type, which is decided based on the availability of materials, funds, volume and composition of traffic, and also subgrade and climatic conditions, construction facilities and cost consideration. That is very important in order to achieve economy. Important surface characteristics of the pavement that are to be studied are friction between the tire and the pavement surface, unevenness, that is condition of the surface of the road, light reflecting characteristics during rainy season, that means when the bituminous road or cement concrete road is wet or dry, and driving during daytime and night time, how it affects we have to see. Drainage of surface water, this is also most essential. As soon as the water come on the road due to rainfall or fog, we are required to clear off the water from the surface so that the subgrade material will be strong enough to sustain the load coming over it. Friction between tire and pavement is one of the factors determining the operating speed and distance requirements in stopping and accelerating the vehicles, means retarding and accelerating. When vehicle negotiates a horizontal curve, the lateral friction developed counteracts the centrifugal force and thus governs the safe operating speed. The maximum coefficient of friction comes into play when the braking efficiency is high enough to partially arrest the rotation of the wheels on application of brakes at low speeds. When brakes are applied, the wheels are locked partially or fully, and if the vehicle moves forward, the longitudinal skidding takes place, which may vary from 0 to 100%. On horizontal surface of the if the centrifugal force is greater than the counteracting force, lateral skidding takes place. Means perpendicular to the longitudinal direction, there will be skidding if the centrifugal force is greater than the counteracting force. The lateral skid is considered dangerous as the vehicle goes out of control, leading to an accident. Slip occurs when a wheel revolves more than the corresponding longitudinal movement along the roads. Therefore, slipping occurs when the vehicle rapidly accelerates or surface is slippery due to water or a fall of oil on the surface of the road, or when the road surface is loose with mud. As per IRC, longitudinal coefficient of friction depends on speed and ranging from 0.35 to zero point 0.4 for the speeds of 100 to 20 km per hour. Also, IRC recommends the transverse coefficient of friction considering the worst condition, that is mud on road, as 0.15, whereas longitudinal is 0.35 to 0.4 for different speeds range that varies from 100 to 20 km per hour. Next, pavement unevenness. Pavement unevenness affects vehicle operation cost, comfortability, safety, and increases the fuel consumption. Wear and tear of tires will increase, and other moving parts. Also, it increases with increase in the pavement unevenness. Usually, it may be caused by inadequate or improper compaction of the fill material, that is subgrade and pavement layers. Also, the unevenness is caused due to 1. Unscientific construction practice, use of inferior pavement materials, use of improper construction machineries during the work, and improper surface and surface drainage which is provided to drain out the water from the surface, and poor maintenance practice. That's why it has been rightly said, maintenance is most essential. Light reflecting characteristics. Night visibility depends on the light reflecting characteristics of the pavement surface. The glare caused by the reflection of headlight is considerably high on wet pavement surface on the dry pavement. Light colored or white pavement, that is cement concrete, surface gives good visibility at night, particularly during rains, and they produce glare and eye strain during bright sunlight. Also, blacktop pavement surface provides very poor visibility at night, especially when the surface is wet. Is it clear? Next, we will see various cross-sectional elements such as carriageway, shoulder, roadway, width, right of way, building line, control line, median, that is separators, camber or cross slope, crown point at the center, side slope, kerb in order to provide the lateral stability, guardrail to safeguard the vehicles during night, especially on horizontal curves and at bridge sides, side drain to drain off the water, and other facilities which are required to be provided during the construction. Carriageway. It is the travel way which is used for movement of vehicle. It takes the vehicular loading. It may be cement concrete road or bituminous pavement. Width of carriageway is determined on the basis of width of the vehicle and the minimum side clearance for safety. As per IRC specifications, the maximum width of vehicle is 2.44 meter, minimum clearance 0.68 meter for safety purpose between the two vehicles on road in case of single lane, and 1.2 meter in case of double lane. Width of carriageway have been standardized by IRC. For single lane 3.75 meter, 2 lane without raised curb 7 meters, 2 lane with raised curbs 7.5 meters, intermediate lane 5.5 meters, multiple pavement wherein more than 2 lanes, 3 lanes, 4 lanes, 6 lanes, 8 lanes for national highway and expressway, we can take 3.5 meter per lane. Similarly, IRC have specified the width of roadway of various classes of roads. It depends on terrain also. Plain and rolling terrain, one class. Mountainous and steep terrain is the other class. Whereas classification of road is based on national highway and state highway. For single lane and 2 lane, 12 meters. 12 meters each. That's in case of plain and rolling terrain, whereas in case of mountainous and steep terrain for national highway and state highway single lane and 2 lane, it is 6.25 meters. Whereas MDR major district road for single lane and 2 lane, in case of plain and rolling terrain it is 9 meter, whereas in case of mountainous terrain it is 4.75 meters for both single lane and 2 lane. Whereas ODR, other district roads, single lane 7.5 meters, whereas 2 lane it is 9 meters in case of plain and rolling terrain, whereas mountainous and steep terrain it is 4.75 meters. Village roads, only single lane is provided, that is 7.5 meter in case of plain and rolling terrain, whereas in case of mountainous region it is just 4 meter. You can see the 2-lane road here with good carriageway with the pavement marking. This is nothing but pavement marking with paint, oil paint. Next, shoulder. Why shoulder is required? It is provided along the road edge to serve as an emergency lane for vehicle. Whenever vehicle comes to a stop or due to some practical reason breakage, then it has to have some space on the road allowing the running traffic. For that it acts as a service lane for vehicles that have broken down. The minimum shoulder of width is 4.6 meter, so that the truck stationed at the side of the shoulder would have a clearance of 1.85 meter from the pavement edge. IRC recommended the minimum shoulder width as 2.5 meters. It should have sufficient load bearing capacity even in wet weather. That is also important. The surface of the shoulder rougher than the traffic lanes. It should be rougher so that vehicles are discouraged to use the shoulder as a regular traffic. The color should be different so that we can identify very distinctly from the pavement. This is shoulder, which is shown here. Shoulder. This is footpath for pedestrians, and especially cycle tracks are provided usually in urban cities. You must have, those who are belonging to Pune, they must have seen. You can see here treated shoulders. Here you can see untreated shoulders with a physical divider, or also known as separators. So whenever this vehicle comes to failure or due to brake failure, they can take their vehicle and park on the shoulder so that the regular traffic without any problem they can move. That is the reason why shoulders are to be provided as per the specification laid down by IRC. Width of the roadway or formation width. It is the sum of the width of the carriageway or pavement, including separators, if any, and the shoulders. Right of way. It is the total area of land acquired for the road along its alignment. It depends on the importance of the road and possible future development. It is desirable to acquire more width of land at the time of alignment itself as the cost of adjoining land invariably increases very much soon after the new highway is constructed. That's why sufficient land should be acquired at the time of alignment itself. Apart from this, we are required to know what is the specifications for building lines and control lines. In order to reserve sufficient space for future development of roads, it is desirable to control the building activities on either side of the road boundary beyond the land width required for the land. Control lines. In addition to building line, it is desirable to control the nature of building up to further setback distance. What is setback distance? It is designated in meter, or it is also known as the clearance distance. It is the distance required from the center line of the horizontal curve to an obstruction on the inner side of the curve to provide adequate side distance at a horizontal curve. This depends on side distance, SSD or ISD or OSD, radius of the curve and length of the curve. So we shall stop here. Let us continue in the next class, please. Thank you for patient hearing.